Evening all, welcome back to the test drive of the USS Awesome. Look at this, that is not a little crevasse I found. I made that. That was me, all me. And this thing is working quite well. It's actually quite stable. There's no general issues with the armor plates. They seem to be working quite nice. And my god, this thing can mine. It just shreds asteroids. And it's all feeding through into the cargo hold. So this has got to be the first time I've ever had a success of this level ever in this game, because it kind of all worked. Although look, we did lose one link there, but you know, it's okay because they're always going into the drill, and all it is just one of the things that's taken a knock. So there we go. See that? That's all it was. That's all it was. Just took a little bit of a knock. So we'll probably need to armor them as well, but oh my god, this has worked well. Now I haven't mined much, so don't get me wrong, I've mined a load of rubbish, but this isn't necessarily testing for, I wasn't looking for anything, I just went straight into the rock and saw what I could do. And what I'm really looking to do with this thing is to turn it into something that I can probably mine, as I say, iron with. So it's really a mass bulk miner, to be honest with you. So, you know, asteroids like this, not this one exactly, but some like this are actually all centered with iron. So having this ability just to literally fly into it, but also then go through it, is going to be quite useful. Now, obviously, because there is such a large profile of the drill at front, it's quite sleek for the rest of the ship. So it kind of works. Hopefully that makes sense. As you see, it's kind of picked up a huge amount of rocks and bits and bobs. So what we need to do now is to find a way to get these rocks from the ship into the flagship's refinery, easily, simply, and you know, as lazily as possible. Now, let me show you how we do this. Now, this is something to bear in mind, that everything in this game is a learning curve. Okay, so as we come back to our hopper there, our hopper is a bit small. Okay, so you know, and I think my issue with this ship is you need to be able just to park this somewhere and then leave it and let it unload automatically. Okay, and you don't want it to take forever, because this thing could hold 1.2 million kilograms of stuff. So that could be, you know, that would take the reactor 20 minutes to do. So you want it to be something that you can just literally, you know, leave and it will just do it. And you know, you've seen that we can obviously have our single ejection port, our pooper as we call it, and that works quite well. But the thing is, this ship is obviously a little bit big. As you see, the front of it is going to get caught on bits. This is a lot of fiddly nonsense that I don't think I'm really looking to do. So I think we are going to rechannel this thing eventually, but at the moment, yeah, it's fiddly, and I think we're going to hit that gun if I'm not careful. Yeah, there we go, hit the gun. But you know, we're kind of there. Look at that. So you see the bottom piece, the armored cone, that's our pooper, and we need to obviously get this within range. Now, we can drop it from quite a height, so I think for now it'll do on the side of the ship, but we will channel this down the ship eventually. So it'll sit where those turrets are currently. We'll have a hopper up there, and then we can just literally hover the ship above it, even dock it maybe, and then just press a button and it will just drop all the ore. So as you see there, it's dropping the ore. Look at that. But that's a bit slow. That is actually very slow. It's taking quite a while to do that. So we need to obviously make that a bit more useful. Plus, the hopper is such a small area, it's not quite right. So we actually have some work to do there. So I think the first one is, let's have a look at this single hopper. I think what we need to do is actually make this bigger. So we're just going to grind away all of this, and we're going to maybe see if we can make multiple poopers. And this is, I think, again, using the power of conveyors, because the conveyors in theory just plug into something and then just spread the load. Okay, so if we bring in a bit of thermodynamics and nozzle velocities, then if we have one pooper, obviously it will poop at 1 per second or whatever it is. If we have 9 poopers, then we have obviously 9 poopers going at the same time. Yes, I am still using the word pooper. It's not childish. Don't be silly. So it is very childish, I know. But what we're going to do is build a much more kind of structured grid, if you like, of things. And I think what we'll do is we'll do this by using 9 conveyors, and we'll use then 9 connectors. Now it's a bit fiddly, quite a lot of materials actually needed to do this, but the benefit is significant, so I would heartily recommend you do this. Plus we're also going to look at the flagship's hopper. I think the hopper is in a single block, it's too small. And I think, remember, if you've watched these videos for a while, you may remember our red dwarf. Remember our red mining cone we produced? Well, we're back to those days now, because what we can have is that at the end of that funnel, and it could be quite a big funnel, is the collector. So in essence, everything drops into the funnel and it just goes round and round and round like a plug hole, and then ding, it ends up in the hopper and then into the reactor. So that is the plan. Now, these things obviously you've got to be a bit careful of, because the last thing you want to do is have to kind of, weld in 9 things, or in this case 18 things, to find out that they're not going to work. And as you can see, I'm already kind of thinking to myself, why isn't that working? And I realize, it's because I've not got interior plates, because I'm a noob. And I think, the tubes aren't going to cut it. I think it does need to be a conveyor. So just need to grab some interior plates. And I think the conveyor is probably the better way to do this. Just because I think it's, I don't know, to me it just kind of makes more sense to do it that way. Otherwise, I can't see how you could do it with a single tube. Do you know what I mean? So I think, conveyors seem to be the right way to do this. But what we're going to do is we're just going to build a grid of 9 of these things. And then, they should, in theory, work. Now, you could go crazy and build many, many more. 9 is already quite crazy. We started off with just 5, but, with a little bit of trial and error, this turned into 9. And what this then became was quite a powerful, simple way to kind of unload quickly. Okay, now think of the mechanics of this. If you're playing with a game, a group of people, you're playing a game, you could just have people turn up, they know where to park, they just then open up the cargo bay in the connectors, and then this thing just poops all the asteroids into the hopper, and then they're off mining again. And that's nice. I do like the concept of that. I think that's really quite exciting stuff. And I think this is definitely the way to go. Now, fast forward a little bit. We're now going to show you how we did then the funnel. And the funnel, I think, is something that I would honestly recommend you do, because, you're not always going to be totally accurate with a single block. Plus, it means you've got to kind of mess about quite a bit with, with alignment, etc., and all that rubbish. So by just doing it this way, it makes life a lot easier, because you can kind of roughly get it right, and you know that as long as you're kind of getting in the hopper, it will just then, tinkle round, then hit the bottom of it and go through. And I think that has got to be the better way to do it, let's say. We're using the angle blocks because we want to make this kind of nice and elegant. It is temporary. We're not going to leave this forever. I think really I was just more interested in making something a little bit kind of simple to begin with, but I think we are going to channel this through the ship, as I say, and just make it a much more kind of structured thing. To be honest with you, I want to redesign the entire refinery assembler mining piece of this entire ship. I want it to be a new module of the ship. So we might be looking at maybe making the ship longer, and this is not going to be easy. It means we're going to have to move the hangars as well, but so that's not going to be too easy to do. But again, when I get a spare Sunday, I'm just going to sit and I'm just going to properly build out this ship to be more than it is at the moment, because it's not quite right with what it is at the moment. Okay, so here we go. Just going to delete. I put heavy blocks in like an idiot, so let me just make sure I got that right. So I'm generally not using heavy armor blocks because I don't have that much spare iron, but there we go. That's it. That's the hopper. Simple as that. You can go to town with this. You can make it another level if you wish, but that is fine. That will do the job nicely. And now we're going to test our new christened pooper on our new christened hopper. It's like test driving a new toilet. It's a very exciting time. And what we're going to do, as long as we get roughly within, as long as our bomb bay doors are open roughly in the right place, this thing shouldn't matter too much. So as we kind of, just ease into position, we can then just hit the buttons and then start. So first off, I'm just going to open one. So as you see, look at that. That's going in nicely. Look at that. Oh no, there we go. They're all open, and that is just beautiful. So I'm just going to move the ship to the left just to show you that the hopper does work. So there we go. Look at that. Ding, ding, ding. Lovely. And it's all going in. So if I now eject this thing, I mean, again, I have a huge amount of ore in this, and it's just, massive amount of ore. But look at that. It's just being ejected automatically from a grid of 9 onto the block. And if I just rotate, that looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? And there we go. That's it. And there we have it. Hours and hours of work. A really good mining ship, a really good automated system of getting ore through the game, through the drills, into the cargo hold, out the connectors, through space using gravity into the hopper into the refinery, then refined into the assembler. All automated. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.